just a couple of days ago, a company called Workday. You've all heard of Workday? Have you heard of Workday? It is a HR software company. It powers payroll processing and other HR functions inside big companies. Workday announced that they're no longer supporting just human employees, but also AI agents. So they said that in the future, we'll have not just human beings working for organizations, but we'll have AI workers also. And therefore, as a HR software company, we should now start to think about AI agents powering decisions, powering things, and therefore we will have HR management for AIs as well, which are AI agents. So you can see this looks like a joke or looks like a gimmick, but it's not, because that's where the world is going. And to illustrate this and to think about the opportunity in India, I have two amazingly distinguished people, which you have already heard introductions to. But maybe first I'll start with the most important question in my mind is, what's the next big breakthrough in AI? You guys have been doing amazing work in AI. So Professor Chiranjib, maybe start with you. What's the next big breakthrough in AI? And do you think there's a small chance or a good chance that it might come from an Indian lab?
I have 1 hour?
Yeah, one minute.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think there are 4 things which are important, which you will see immediate innovations. So every time we fire a query in ChatGPT is answering back. That's called the problem of inference. Now, inference is 80% of today's AI cost. So you will immediately see innovation will cut down that time. Where will it happen, I do not know, but that's one of the problems which will get solved anyway. Second, we see that everywhere you see, all of us are saying, give me my GPUs, I'll build the big models. But then GPUs are not available, NVIDIA and all that. This is not a sustainable model. So you will see innovation on what is called a heterogeneous compute. That CPUs, GPUs, other things, and we will innovate. Maybe it's not there yet, the second. Third, I think most of the ChatGPT thing, what you are saying is nice, but probably everybody is betting on what is called as agentic LLM, which is another fancy way of saying that can it reason? For example, you want to throw LLM for planning. So neuro-symbolic reasoning tools, this will come. Fourth, which I really think will happen in a big way, is breakthroughs in natural sciences. Physics, chemistry, biology, these basic sciences. I'm not asking for healthcare, I'm not asking for those things. These AI tools will create new lights on this. 1 minute I'm taking? Fine, thank you.
Binny, how about you? From your lens, you as X to 10X, and at Flipkart you did incredible machine learning even back 10 years ago. Do you see a fundamental breakthrough in AI coming from an Indian lab? And what would that fundamental breakthrough be to your mind?
Yeah, I think that's probably a better question for a professor here, who works with the research labs way more closely. I think from my vantage point of AI research and what's happening and AI breakthrough innovation and the talent landscape in India, I think we have a long way to go from really creating impact at the foundational level of AI, but the opportunity is really humongous. And I think the center of AI being set up here is a really amazing big step, which should enable us to answer this question very differently, hopefully a few years down the line. But I think today my answer would be, unfortunately, a little bit on the negative side. But I think there has been a lot of progress we've made in building technology in other areas. I mean, I've done a few moonshot investments myself over the last 10, 12 years. So the talent is there. Some of these companies are doing very well. So Ather in electric vehicles was started back in 2016 when electric vehicles and electric scooters were not really a thing, and they were sort of pioneers in that. And there's another warehousing robotics company using AI in robotics, which was started way back in 2012, called Grey Orange, which is now a very large, almost unicorn company in the US. So, and there is a company called Pandorum, which is into 3D printing of human tissues and corneas and skin and other stuff with many applications in healthcare. So I think the talent is there, and similar applies to AI as well. I think opportunity is there, talent is there, but we need catalysts to really bring it all together to create the next breakthrough innovation from this country.
And some patient capital as well, I guess, which I
Yeah.
think you're providing in some ways with the O21 and other stuff. So Professor Chiranjib, I'll come to you again. I read some of your papers, which were very popular, highly referenced papers on support vector machines back in 2001 and 2002. You wrote some very game-changing papers. And as someone who's been doing data science and machine learning for many, many years, almost 30 years now, having started building some neural networks back in the mid-90s, but mostly spent time in building the traditional data science models, like machine learning stuff. Right? Do you see the breakthroughs in AI fundamentally reshaping that? Maybe we don't need any of this stuff. Maybe we don't need the traditional data science stuff because the foundation models will become so much smarter that we directly solve the problem without getting into this. Do you see a chance that all the education that we have today of traditional machine learning is not required? Where do you see the future of the traditional data science work?
A very good question. The idea is that if there is all-powerful LLM, ChatGPT knows everything, what's the point of this? So I personally believe, it's a belief, that if AI is something of force for the good, it cannot be only ChatGPT. It has to be democratized. It has to be democratized. Everybody should use this. And already we see some pushback from enterprises. Enterprise, for example, like a bank wants to use an LLM, right? But the bank will be hesitant to put some very critical information and sending it to cloud to the owners of ChatGPT can read those things. So this will create new science. And the moment that opportunity exists, now we have to go back to the fundamentals. AI is basically high-end statistics, meeting planetary scale data, and designing algorithms for that. If that's what we buy into, that means we will have to go back and rethink CS education, where optimization, statistics, I'm not sure the good things in this room, but those are going to play a big, big role. And in that sense, the fundamentals will remain. So I see, but it will change. It will change. But those fundamental disciplines will remain, and there will be need for young, talented minds to, who are well trained in this, to create opportunities, not only for themselves, and also for broader humanity. Plaksha, I think, is one of the examples that I see is education has two roots. One of them is called edusare. I don't know how to pronounce it right. Edusare means to lead out, to manifest. That is, these are people who go and solve problems. So if we buy into all this argument, I think so maybe no need to abandon yet all this, but of course, the way we teach things, that has to change. So I will say your disciplines will remain, but the way we want to see it in our classrooms will change. For example, you will see Python meeting statistics. Those are the courses which come in the first year of, everybody should know. Doesn't matter, even if you do liberal arts, you should know this. This would be my, short,
Maybe I'll pivot to you, Binny. So in 2018, the CEO of L'Oreal made the announcement that L'Oreal is no longer a beauty company, we are a beauty tech company. Similarly, around the same time, Ajay Banga said, we are not a financial services company at MasterCard, we are a technology company that happens to be in financial services space. And Sundar Pichai said, we are not a search company, we are an AI first company. So everyone is pivoting to be a more techie, more AI company. And when I was, last week, 10 days ago, there was a meeting with Sam Altman. One of the gentlemen, Rajan Anandan, asked a very interesting question to Sam. He said, there are so many AI companies now that are becoming a roadkill. For every time ChatGPT updates itself, A few companies are going out of business because it's a new feature, it's already out there. So how do you, in that world of every company being a tech company, an AI company, and these foundational models getting smarter, what do you do with the entrepreneurs who are building tech companies? What are you advising them? How should they build a company that can remain relevant, not say 20 years, but even for the next 2 years?
Yeah. Well, that's a great and very difficult question that you grapple with every day, because of the speed at which this innovation is going is just mind-blowing. And somebody was talking about using AI 3 years back and using AI now. I think forget 3 years, like using AI 3 months back and using it now. There's a tremendous, tremendous difference. Every month you are seeing amazing new innovations happening. So I think you really have to take view to this, that this technology is going to get not 10x, maybe 100x, 1000x better very, very quickly. And then you have to kind of look at the type of problems you are solving, whether they come in the ambit of these foundational models, and really look at imagining the world when that at that 1000x, 100x kind of world, and then see where in the value stack can you really create a moat. And it's a difficult question, especially for incumbents.
Yeah. And maybe switch a little bit to education. Education itself is changing and getting a lot of impact on AI because we don't know what to teach, and the methods of teaching are changing. So maybe we would love to get both your takes on what is the role of AI in education, and what should we be teaching today for kids and students to be relevant. I'm talking of high school, undergrad, so on, for them to be relevant for the next 20, 30 years. What should we teach, and how should we teach with AI?
I need a full day. No, yeah, sorry, they're not easy answers, and this, I think, as educators, all of us are, are concerned about this. And I think that's a good challenge to have. We should consider reinvent ourselves also. Now, I think the model which I see my parents grew up with, and to some extent myself also, you go to college, learn for 3-4 years, and you get enough knowledge to sustain yourself for the rest of your life. I think that is a model for a service economy. We are fast moving into a product economy, where the pace of innovation is tremendously fast. So the fact that I learned for 4 years sustain for my life, I think has to be disbanded. So which also means that universities have a special role in a lifelong education. And I'm not sure how many of you, I don't know how many of you have heard this. I think one of my British colleagues, one of the professors there. So he's saying Britain has passed a law that lifelong education is a right. I don't know what that means, but basically that means universities offer courses and things like that. And that's going to happen. That's the only way you can keep pace with these kind of innovations. Now, if that being said, now I don't think we have to abandon traditional models. Of course, we have to teach in a particular way, but traditional models are, education must be pretty broad-based at the beginning, and slowly you taper off. That should not be abandoned. Undergrad education should be very, very broad-based. And let them specialize, let them find their ways. Lakshya did the right thing. I think at this point I was chatting some students, the first year, second year, they have no specialization. That's the right way, in my opinion. That prepares you for the future. Now, I have some specific suggestions. I'm not sure the right forum, but since you asked, I think immediately computing skills have to be rethought. And at this point, I will only do computing only because if I'm CS engineer, I think that has to be got rid of. Does not matter whatever you are, you should know how to write Python code. Python is what I'm saying, maybe new things will come. So, and of course, some knowledge of statistics, some knowledge of things like that. I can go a little bit more, but I think this would be my general thoughts. And if you have time, we can talk more. Maybe I think Binny should talk
if you want
more.
to add to that.
I'll probably add a little bit on the more, I think, education at a school level perspective. I think with AI, I'm super excited about all the possibility of really giving quality education at scale in a country like India, where, I mean, your question was, okay, what should we teach in this world? I think the problem in our country also is even the basics that we need to teach today, we are doing not a great job at scale, right? So I think the first big opportunity is, can you use AI? Can it be a real co-pilot to the teacher who's not so well trained, but can AI be the expert and the teacher sort of a medium of delivering their expertise, expert sort of education in an expert manner to millions of children in a much, much better manner than it is being done on the ground today. And I think once we do that, then maybe the next question is, yeah, what else should sort of be teaching them how to learn, lifelong learning, and all of that at that grassroots and school level that can really have the next level of impact. What I'm really excited about is, I think, how can you use AI to teach even the basics better at really scale of millions of students.
So one thing I noticed in the last 1 month or so is a massive shift in thinking at the India level. After the DeepSeek Sputnik moment for the Americas and for India also, it's been a kind of a realization that we had it wrong. We could have done it, and we just did not pay enough attention to, let's say, building models grounds up, and we could fundamentally have breakthroughs. Even at the government level, it seems like now we want to actually build some foundation models. It has shown that no one has a monopoly on the progress of AI, number one. Everybody can do it. And two, that we're just getting started. There's a lot to play for. We are really basically in the middle of the first chapter of this book. We're not at the final chapter, and it's not that Sam Altman has solved all problems of the world. It's just the beginning. So with that kind of a new environment that we are in, my question to both of you is, how would you set up an AI research lab grounds up today? Because things in AI are also changing pretty quickly. And given the environment that we are in, it would be good to get your ideas on what would an AI research lab look today as opposed to, let's say, 10 years ago. Should it look like? What are some of the principles to have? What kind of problems should we solve? How should we solve this problem of intelligence and AGI? Would love to get your thoughts.
Maybe I can start. I think I agree with some of what you said and probably not agree with a bit of it. I think I agree with that. I think that space is still very new. There's a lot to do, a lot of opportunity. And I think with the right inputs, it can be done. So with the right, and mostly the inputs here is the expertise and the people. And then the compute that you need to train the models. I think the thing that I probably would not agree as much today is that anybody can do it. I think it can be done in certain parts of the world, and where it is being done, and we are seeing results. I think China, we should not take for granted. I think China is just way ahead in so many areas of technology, even than the US that we take for granted. I think if you look at TikTok, right, there's nothing like TikTok across the world. Because it's just better technology. I mean, that's the core reason. And then what you see at DeepSeek is also a result of that talent coming together to do something in AI in a different field. So I think that infrastructure and the talent exists in all these countries. So in the US, obviously, in France, there are a few companies, and in China. So I think to do that here, we really need to, I think, attract like the best AI researchers, the best talent. I think that would be like the number one thing that we need to do. And then I think everything else follows. And I think Professor would have better ideas what to do after that.
Prof, what are some of the underlying principles of setting up an AI research lab today? If you were to set it up grounds up, because we have the opportunity with so much of the money getting available at Plaksha, what are the principles of an AI research lab, according to you?
Better or not, I don't know. So Now, I think 10 years ago, your question, right? This is a question I also have, and I see my own evolution. AI was something which researchers are doing. Maybe it makes some money and all that. That's fine. I mean, it was going like that. But now I think it has transcended all barriers. And maybe one way to see, I was talking to some other business, like somebody, an entrepreneur, and I got a better sense. He said, look, you have a way of measuring readiness level. When we were doing 20 years ago, 30 years ago, SVM papers, right? AI was like TRL 2, 3, 4. Now it is mature. And anything that is matured will come with these elities.
Prof, Mike.
Any technology is mature will come with these elities, right? Responsibility, sustainability, which means it is matured. Right? Now I don't think, maybe I'll reuse the word, I don't think lab is what is possible now. It has to be a holistic institution. We have to rethink computing, machine learning, AI, and other disciplines. I personally see, for example, there is one technical problem which I am engaged in. It is called class unlearning, a boring word, don't bother.
Class unlearning.
Yeah, a boring word, doesn't matter. But the genesis of the problem is as follows. There is a very famous actress which sued ChatGPT that they have used her voice.
Yes.
You know what we're talking about. Now, that means the challenge now is that the judge is saying now, okay, remove that person's. Now, now I cannot go back and train the model from ground up. So how do you now, so which also means the following issues now. I think what we are missing lawyers in the room. An excellent, high quality, next generation thinking would come about to lawyers, among other things, right? So maybe if you ask me a ground up, what is to be done? Apart from traditional things we should do, we should have conversations with natural sciences scientists, lawyers and all that, right? I think so it would be a full-blown institution. And number two, any such institution of that order, to have the impact which it seeks, should also play a role in in engaging with our administrators. No, by that what I mean is the governments of the day, to have policies and all that, right? So I think if you really want to ask me that what is the ground up lab look like, I think all this has to be done, but how much of it university should do and how much of it others will do, that I have no better play. But I'll be happy with my class learning problem, and others should do the other things. Yeah, but I think, and also one more thing in India, I think I see that maybe it's a good forum to say and see if the idea resonates with you. I think we should stop measuring funding in rupee terms. We should stop funding in dollar terms.
Yes.
We want to be globally competitive.
Yes.
So what exactly is cheap here? We have to get your GPUs on data, all that, right?
Yes.
So now, see, this is just to have a comparison, right? Number one. Number two, another fact you want to notice. I heard this in 2012 to China, nothing was happening, right? Somebody made this comment, right? Which is fine, it's true maybe. But you see, because I am an educator, I have seen other side of it. 2005, 2012, this venue I see, any conference which I go to, most of the best paper awards were going to Chinese students. Evolution is today's companies, right? So that's one, that gives us a way at least. I mean, this is because I want to plug in for research, So let's say research, you win best paper awards. You will see that now that is not possible unless you are innovating actually at the edge, which will require data, which will require companies. I'm saying this is one of the corollaries, right? So maybe a lab which can do all of that would be useful. How much does it cost? I have no idea, but I'm sure this amount of investment definitely will go a long way.
Awesome. One last question. We'll wrap up now. And slightly different flavor for both of you. Professor Chiranjib, if you had to advise students on what should they learn today to be relevant 20 years from now, what would your advice be? You're meeting an 18-year-old kid who wants to be an engineer. What would you tell him or her? And Binny, the slight variant of the question for you is, 6 million people in India write code for a living today, and many of them in IT services companies. And if, let's say, you meet a second year software programmer, what would you tell him or her as to what to do now to be relevant a few years from now. So start with Binny, and then we'll go to Professor Chiranjib and wrap up.
Yeah. So okay. First, second year person doing software engineering, and what all to learn to stay relevant. Yeah, I think I would be happy if somebody had asked this question back in time to me as well. But I think at that time coding was enough probably. I think today my answer would be I would definitely advise them to not just know how to code. I think when I graduated 2005, I think just knowing how to code was a superpower. You could earn a lot of money by just knowing how to code, going to Amazon, Google, Microsoft, or any global Yahoo, any global product company, and you would get paid. I think today you have to learn a bit more than that. I would say. I think you have to probably marry coding with some other field, and you can pick.
What if just coding gets automated?
Exactly. So if coding gets automated, then that's why if you marry it with some other field, then you will know how to apply automation and software in a unique field. So you could pick biology, you could pick even psychology, you could pick you could pick robotics. So I think you need to really pick one more field and one more area to go along with just coding.
Thank you, Binny. Chiranjib, Professor Chiranjib, you have the last word.
So, advice to 18-year-olds. They are rebels. Don't give advice. My daughter doesn't listen to me. And I think, so I would say, I would stress on the following fact that while I think coding should be just like your health.
Yeah.
Now,
coding should be like typing. Nobody learns typing anymore.
It is important. So I'm not sure how many of you have seen this software called Scratch. It comes out of MIT.
Yeah.
The professor who has developed this. Now I would request some of you to look at the professor's philosophy. He says coding of our own living is a literacy. Coding is a new literacy.
Yes.
If you can't code, you're not literate. And the problem is this: even if ChatGPT can do all the coding, now where is the capacity to design new systems? If you lose that capacity, I'm not sure we will, as an India, stand a chance in bringing up the next generation tools. So I will strongly regard that despite ChatGPT, coding is one of the key things. Some amount of statistics, some amount of mathematics should be the thing. So it doesn't matter whatever you pursue. I would say that I'm sure back in the day, I think there was a BA degree in statistics, I think, and math. I think it is that important, I would believe. So, yeah, so I think, and also one should have a habit of interdisciplinary nature. I should go and sit in some, so just on that point, we were joking with some of our friends that next Nobel Prize in Literature will be won by an AI agent. And I think it's quite, it should come soon. So I think if you pray of the world, you should keep your minds open.
I think one common thing both of you have said is focus on real world problems and learn how to solve problems, frame problems and solve problems rather than just write code. And a whole host of other critical thinking, and I would say critical thinking and ability to judge right from wrong, and the uniquely human values. I think these are some things that most software programmers haven't learned those, and if they learn it, I think they'll probably be more relevant. I gave you some very hard questions because I get to ask questions and you're very smart people, but thank you for humoring me and answering these questions. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, it's an honor.